Have you ever met someone and felt like the connection between you was different from the very beginning? Not just attraction, but something deeper, like life somehow brought both of you together at exactly the right moment. Sometimes when two people are truly meant to be together, certain emotional signs naturally begin to appear in the relationship. The connection feels peaceful, meaningful, comforting, and almost impossible to ignore. In today's video, we are talking about 5 things that almost always happen when two people are meant to be together. Some of these signs are subtle, but once you experience them, you will start realizing the connection may be much deeper than you thought. But before we get into it, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more relationship psychology and Stoic content like this. Now, sit back, relax, and let us get into it. Sign number 1, you meet at the exact time you needed each other most. One of the strangest things about meaningful relationships is timing. Most people imagine soul connections happening when life is perfect, but honestly, that is rarely the case. Usually, two people who are meant to be together meet during periods of growth, healing, loneliness, transition, or emotional transformation. Maybe you were recovering from heartbreak. Maybe they were trying to rebuild their life. Maybe both of you were becoming stronger, wiser versions of yourselves without even realizing it. And somehow, despite all the odds, your paths crossed at exactly the right moment. Not too early, not too late. The connection entered your life at a time when you truly needed each other emotionally. Sometimes one person brings peace into the other person's chaos. Sometimes they bring motivation, healing, emotional support, or simply understanding. And what makes these connections powerful is that they often feel meaningful from the beginning. Even if the relationship develops slowly, there is this strange feeling that meeting them changed something inside you forever. The Stoics understood timing in a way that modern culture often overlooks. They believed in the concept of kairos, the right or opportune moment, the qualitative experience of time rather than just the quantitative measure of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that everything is as nature made it, and that includes the timing of our encounters with others. When two people meet at the moment they most need each other, it is not random. It is part of a larger order that the mind cannot fully comprehend but the heart can feel. The philosopher Seneca wrote extensively about the importance of friendship and how true connection requires both people to be in the right place emotionally and spiritually for each other. He said that friendship is born at the moment when one person says to another, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." That recognition, that shared experience of being in a similar life stage or facing a similar struggle, is often what makes a connection feel so immediate and so deep. It is as if the universe arranged everything perfectly so that two people could find each other at exactly the right moment, not when they were too broken to receive love, and not when they were too healed to need it, but precisely when they could meet each other where they were. The emotional impact of this kind of timing cannot be overstated. When you meet someone who understands your pain because they have experienced something similar, or who appreciates your growth because they are going through their own transformation, the connection feels almost fated. It feels like something beyond the ordinary, something that defies the usual randomness of human interaction. And that feeling of fate, of destiny, is not just romantic fantasy. It is a genuine emotional experience that can change the trajectory of both people's lives. There is a reason why people who meet during significant life transitions often form the most lasting bonds. They are not just attracted to each other, they are witnesses to each other's becoming. They see who the other person was and who they are becoming, and they choose to walk alongside them through that transformation. That kind of connection, born out of timing and shared growth, is the foundation upon which something truly lasting can be built. Sign number 2, being with them feels like peace, not confusion. A lot of people confuse emotional chaos with love because modern relationships often normalize mixed signals, anxiety, and emotional inconsistency. But when two people are genuinely meant to be together, the connection usually brings peace instead of constant emotional stress. Of course, no relationship is perfect, but underneath everything there is emotional safety and clarity. You do not constantly feel confused about where you stand with them. You do not spend every night overthinking their behavior or wondering if they care. Their actions match their energy. Their effort feels genuine. Even during disagreements, there is still respect and emotional stability underneath the conflict. And honestly, one of the biggest signs of a deep connection is how calm your nervous system feels around them. You feel emotionally safe enough to relax and be yourself. You do not feel like you constantly have to fight for their attention or beg for reassurance. Real love often feels peaceful because it removes emotional uncertainty instead of creating more of it. This is where Stoic philosophy becomes particularly relevant. The Stoics taught that tranquility of mind, what they called ataraxia, is one of the highest goods a person can achieve. It is not a passive state, but an active one, the result of aligning your judgments with reality and not being disturbed by things outside your control. When you are in a relationship that brings you peace rather than anxiety, you are experiencing the external manifestation of an internal principle. The other person is not the source of your peace. They are a reflection of it. They create conditions that allow your natural calm to flourish because they do not constantly trigger your fears, insecurities, or anxieties. Epictetus taught that we should be careful about the people we allow into our lives because they will inevitably influence our inner state. He said, "Associate with those who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. The process is mutual." When you are with someone who genuinely makes you feel peaceful, that is a sign that the relationship is improving you, not degrading you. You are not constantly on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop. You are not scanning for signs of rejection or abandonment. You are simply present, and that presence feels good. The absence of constant anxiety is one of the most reliable indicators that a relationship is healthy and meant to be. When you do not have to guess where you stand, when you do not have to analyze their texts for hidden meanings, when you do not have to wonder if they are pulling away, you are free to actually enjoy the relationship. And enjoyment, genuine enjoyment of another person's presence, is one of the deepest pleasures of human life. It is also one of the rarest. Many people spend years in relationships that look good on paper but feel like a constant battle on the inside. They have learned to tolerate emotional chaos because they think that is what love is supposed to feel like. But it is not. Love, real love, the kind that is meant to be, does not feel like a roller coaster. It feels like a quiet harbor. It is steady. It is grounding. It is somewhere you can rest. Sign number 3, you do not have to shrink yourself to be loved. One of the deepest signs that two people belong together is that the relationship allows both people to fully become themselves. You do not feel the need to hide parts of your personality just to keep them interested. You do not feel like you have to act differently, stay quiet, lower your standards, or constantly change yourself to earn love. Instead, they naturally encourage your growth. They support your dreams, your healing, your confidence, and your individuality. Around the right person, you start becoming more of yourself, not less. And that is something truly special because unhealthy relationships often make people feel emotionally small. They make people feel like they must constantly perform to remain loved. But meaningful love creates emotional freedom. You feel accepted for who you truly are, flaws included. And interestingly, when someone genuinely loves you deeply, they often inspire you to become a better version of yourself naturally, not through pressure, but through emotional support and encouragement. This aligns with the Stoic principle of oikiosis, the process of recognizing what is appropriate and natural for oneself. The Stoics believed that each person has a unique nature, a set of characteristics and purposes that define who they are meant to be. When you are in a relationship that honors that nature rather than trying to change it, you are experiencing one of the most profound forms of love. Seneca wrote that we should associate with people who make us better, but he also emphasized that we should not try to change ourselves to please others. He said, "Do not think that a man is happy just because he is rich or powerful. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." In the context of relationships, this means that you should not be anxious about whether you are good enough for the other person. If you have to constantly perform, constantly prove yourself, constantly shrink who you are to fit their expectations, you are not in a relationship that honors your nature. The right relationship, the one that is meant to be, liberates you to be more fully yourself. It does not just accept your quirks and imperfections. It celebrates them. It creates space for your dreams, your goals, and your individual path. And it does not do this because it is generous. It does this because it recognizes that your growth is its growth, that your expansion is the relationship's expansion. This is one of the most beautiful aspects of deep connection. It is not about two people merging into one. It is about two people becoming more fully who they are while walking alongside each other. You are not losing yourself in the relationship. You are finding yourself because the relationship creates conditions where you can do so safely. And that is something truly rare. Sign number 4, even silence between you feels meaningful. This is one of the most underrated signs of a deep emotional connection. When two people truly belong together, they do not always need endless conversation to feel close. Sometimes simply being near each other feels comforting enough. You can sit together quietly, drive together silently, or spend time together without forcing interaction, and somehow the connection still feels full. There is no pressure to constantly impress each other or keep entertaining conversation every second. Their presence alone feels calming. And honestly, emotional comfort like this is very rare because most people only feel connected when there is constant excitement or stimulation. But true emotional intimacy often reveals itself in silence. It is the feeling that even when no words are being spoken, you still feel emotionally understood, emotionally connected, and emotionally safe. Their presence starts feeling like home instead of pressure. And when two people can genuinely enjoy each other's silence, it usually means the connection goes much deeper than surface-level attraction. The Stoics had a profound understanding of the value of silence. Epictetus taught that we should not fill every moment with words, that silence is often the wisest response. He said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In relationships, this translates into the ability to simply be with someone without needing to constantly perform or entertain. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the importance of stillness and quiet contemplation. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you can be silent with someone and still feel connected, you are experiencing a level of trust and comfort that goes beyond words. You are saying to each other, without saying anything at all, that you are okay exactly as you are, that you do not need to be anything other than present. This kind of comfortable silence is a sign that the relationship is grounded in something deeper than mere stimulation. It is not about what you do together. It is about who you are together. When the novelty wears off, when the excitement fades, when you have run out of things to say, the relationship that survives is the one where silence feels like connection rather than awkwardness. That is the one that is meant to be. Because at the end of the day, you will spend far more of your life in the quiet, ordinary moments than in the exciting, novel ones. If you cannot find peace and comfort in the silence, you will not find peace and comfort in the relationship. But when the silence feels right, when you can sit together without words and still feel close, you have found something that most people spend their whole lives looking for. Sign number 5. Life starts aligning in unexpected ways. One of the most beautiful things about meaningful relationships is how they often inspire positive change in both people's lives. Sometimes, after meeting the right person, things slowly begin falling into place emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. You become more motivated, more focused, more hopeful about life. Certain opportunities begin appearing, old wounds begin healing, and somehow the relationship pushes both people toward growth naturally. This does not mean life suddenly becomes perfect, but it often feels like the connection brings alignment instead of destruction. The relationship motivates both people to improve their lives instead of losing themselves emotionally. And many times people look back later and realize meeting that person completely changed the direction of their life in ways they never expected. The right relationship often creates emotional clarity instead of emotional confusion. It helps both people grow instead of holding each other back. And even during difficult seasons, the connection still feels meaningful because both people continue choosing each other through growth, change, and life challenges. This phenomenon aligns with the Stoic concept of sympathia, the interconnectedness of all things. The Stoics believed that everything in the universe is connected by a web of relationships, that what happens to one part of the whole affects every other part. When you meet someone who is meant to be in your life, it is like a thread in that web that was always meant to be woven into your fabric. They come into your life, and suddenly things start falling into place because you are finally aligned with the person you were meant to be with. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything harmonizes with me, which is harmonious to you, O universe. Nothing for me is too early or too late, which is in due time for you. Everything is fruit to me, which your seasons bring, O nature." When you find the right person, life does not just feel better. It feels more meaningful. The alignment is not just about convenience. It is about purpose. It is about feeling like you are exactly where you are supposed to be, doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing, with exactly the person you are supposed to be with. At the end of the day, when two people are truly meant to be together, the connection usually feels deeper than temporary attraction. There is emotional safety, peace, understanding, growth, comfort, and a feeling that life somehow brought both of you together for a reason. And while no relationship is perfect, truly meaningful connections often feel natural instead of forced. Which of these signs resonates with you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more relationship psychology and Stoic content. Thank you for watching.